Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tapestry of Connection. I'm your host, Gena Frances, and today it is my honor to welcome Nell-E to the program. Nell-E is the founder of kindfulbeing.com. He is a soundologist, and he is a yoga teacher, and he is a wonderful, wonderful human being. I met Nell-E through a retreat in the UK, and from the very first moment that I saw Nell-E, he had this calm, peaceful energy. You were just drawn to him because of the way he made you feel. You could sit next to him, and then all of a sudden, if you had been nervous, you would be calm. And he's really, really a wonderful spiritual human being. And so I'm just honored to welcome Nell-E to the program. So welcome, Nell-E.
Thank you, Gena. Those are beautiful words. I really appreciate that. I feel the
My
same way.
pleasure. Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. I wanted to talk to you. I know you and I have talked a little bit about how your evolution into this work, but do you want to just talk to me a little bit about where you started from and then how you came on this journey to become a soundologist, to yoga, all of the above?
Absolutely. And I will limit myself talking.
No, don't.
It all started with the journey of yoga. I was working as a cybersecurity engineer, and then I'm kind of lost, and I really wanted to do something more purposeful for myself. And I started with registering or enrolling at a yoga teacher training here in Santana Row in San Jose. And once I finished it around 2021, I said to myself that I wanted more. And I went to Peru. I stayed in the Sacred Valley of Peru and did the training again. I experienced my first sound bath in the Sacred Valley of Peru. I said, this is so interesting, but I didn't have any plans of doing it anyway, but I'm just so interested. I'm so moved by the sound and the practice itself. I came back to Peru again after a month and do Reiki energy healing training in the Amazon jungle. And then it all started from my search in yoga.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there. So you were a cybersecurity engineer. So that's a big change to go from cybersecurity, which is very linear and very much about detail and about threats and about,
Yes.
the energy there of protection, to go to yoga and then soundologist. So what made you go on the yoga journey? You were unfulfilled in your work and you just said, I'll try yoga. Walk me a little bit through how you decided to try yoga.
It's a fun work, but I feel like every time I wake up in the morning and do it, it felt like I'm just pushing myself to do it. And I've done so many other works as well. I work in banking, but mostly tech. I work in consulting. But there's just this feeling of emptiness. Just feel it. Like one morning, I just say to myself that I needed something more, or I wanted something more with my life. And I feel like it's a continuous thing. When you start your first job, it's like, oh, I don't feel aligned with this, and then you move again to another job, and then you find out more about yourself. So everything is integrated anyway. So the things that I'd learned from those occupations, I feel like they're all conglomerated and now they're cheerleaders, and yeah, this is what you're gonna do with this one. It's all combined. It's all part of who I become.
I think that's true that a lot of people, if they're not involved in this type of work, they may not see that as, a spiritual journey, but it really is. Each part brings you to the next part, which brings you to the next part, which puts you on the path that you're meant to be on. Talk to me a little bit about what it was like when you first realized this is what I want to do. I mean, that's a big leap of faith between cybersecurity and then yoga teacher and soundologist. Walk me through your thought process when you were like, you know what, this is it.
Mhm. As soon as I finished my 200-hour teacher training here in California and then went to Peru, I already knew that this is what I wanted to do. I don't know how it's gonna work because I don't know if anyone ever survived as a yoga teacher, but maybe they get some of them. But
Mhm.
but I know it's an opening. It's a door that opened for me. And when I went to Peru, I was walking around the valley. There's a lot of trees, beautiful sceneries there. I kind of had like a conversation with the mother. Yeah. So
Mhm.
That's when I learned the word Pachamama. I knew that this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna stop until I'm satisfied that I'm ready. When the time that I'm ready to offer it or to give myself in service to this to the humanity.
When you got to Peru and you first were there, I'm curious because I know for me, different places have different energetic resonances for me. And some feel like you're coming home. Some feel like this is not the energy field that aligns with me. When you got to Peru, what was it like for you, that connection to the land and that connection to that energetic space? Did you feel a difference?
It was home for me. Yeah, it's like once I get there, I'm constantly talking to Pachamama, the mother, and I felt home. I felt so connected, even with the people who are training with me and the organization. And the silence that I experienced there, the stillness, is so beautiful. It's so powerful. I've never had that experience prior to that. Um, so yes, I felt being called there. I was really supposed to be there.
If you don't mind sharing, did you discover things about yourself that surprised you or that enlightened you more while you were there? Because you felt such a pull there. So I'm curious if there was any kind of surprising or wonderful or revelations that you had about yourself there.
I would say there's a lot of help from the women that were with me during that time. There's only two of us, or men, almost about 40 women, and I've learned so much. I've learned so much from them, and because they were like mirror reflections, they will actually tell you, like you are a teacher. You're gonna have your own podcast, something like that. It was like they're saying it to me, and that reminded me of my gift, of what I can do, of my limitless ability.
And that's amazing also. And I do feel like that the people come around in our lives that are
Yes.
meant to step in and kind of move us in the right direction or remind us of the beautiful things about us so that we go on our path. And I'm always so very grateful for each and every one of those people that have come along. So I relate to that experience. So you launch into this new world. And did you find right away that you knew that, okay, I'm going to do yoga, but like how did we evolve into Soundologist? Were they parallel? Were they happening simultaneously, or was there an evolution from yoga and you keep adding different skills in your bucket?
I love the word that you use, evolution. Yeah, it did evolve. And I wasn't expecting anything. I was just going with the flow. I was just a little fish being flown. I went to the Amazon jungle. We did the Reiki training, and then I said I kind of wanted more of this too. So energy healing is next to the yoga. So that's why I offer before when I opened my business. I said yoga, Reiki, and sound healing. So when I learned Reiki, I wanted more. I wanted to train more because I felt so amazing with it, and I know that I can do something about it. Also, my mom was sick. She's suffering cancer at that time, and I was helping her with pain. So it's helping her to feel it as well, to feel more as well. Sound came late. It came later. When I was in Peru, someone recommended I reach out to a Reiki master here in San Francisco, and then she's also the one who recommended that I train with someone in the discipline of sound healing. And so I did. I signed up while I was already going to London for another Reiki healing. So I learned from three teachers. I started searching for teachers in sound healing.
So yeah, so okay, so let's talk about Reiki for a few minutes because as you know, that's a passion of mine. And I mean, I can't speak highly enough about Reiki and what it can do, and that's just been my experience. But there is that feeling, right, when you learn it and you're like, oh, this is so amazing and I want to do it more and I want to connect with that energy more. So what was it like for you going through the Reiki evolution part of your journey?
My first Reiki healing was when I was in the Amazon jungle, and the space was so beautiful. The animals, I feel like the entire space is contributing to the healing that's happening to me. So the teacher was doing it on me, and I was so moved by it. I realized that there's, it's it's more like a remembrance, like a remembering of how does consciousness really work? How does this energy move around us, and how are we all also energy? And I feel like without opening my radar to learn, when you're reading something you wanted to understand it fully, without even opening anything, it's like flowing with you in all your DNA and all the atoms in your body. It's all weaving. I feel like it's all remembrance, really. So the things that were introduced to us is actually just allowing us to re-recognize our gifts or what we really have as human beings. So yeah, so it's an impeccable feeling. It's so powerful, and that's when I said, okay, maybe there's something here that I can share. Maybe I can go home and just help my mom to feel better.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm feeling. Yeah, I'm thinking about during that time.
And what a remarkable gift that you were able to be there with your mom and able to help her through such a difficult transitionary time and to be conscious of something greater. I really feel that was a blessing for your mom to have you at that time. And I know it was, I'm sure, very difficult, but what a gift you were able to give to her through that time period. Um, Mm. So, what was it like when you came back and you told your family, your friends, and people that I'm going to leave this corporate world and I'm going to start in this intuitive spiritual world? Did you get support, or what were sort of the reactions to you from that side of your life?
During those times when I'm planning, it's just me and actually the universe. So it's I don't share where I'm going next. I don't share what I'm gonna do. I just go. The only people that knew is the people that are there, or doing it with me. So I didn't actually tell anyone that I'm leaving work yet, but I know deep in my heart that I'm already planning to leave. It so happened that the universe has a lot of tricks, a lot of aids have come to me. Like I was able to teach in during lunchtime. I can teach yoga during lunchtime while I'm working. And I didn't leave work yet until my mom passed away, and then the year passed. So that's around 2023 when I left,
Okay.
finally left work.
And so, was that a scary process when you first sort of? I know for me, going from journalism to then moving to this type of work, there was a period where it was like that scary feeling, am I really doing this? And then walking through that fear and then arriving, so to speak. I mean, we never arrive, but arriving at this part of the destination on the way to the final journey. Did you have anything like that experience?
Absolutely. And I think it's the main scary thing is having to not sustain yourself with finances, because I'm going to be leaving a good paying job. But at the same time, I feel like it's nothing compared to the joy that I will feel, the fulfillment that will complete my journey.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. We sort of learn more what's more important as we go along.
I guess what we're doing is the hero's journey, right?
Mhm.
So we're choosing the path that's not often walked by so many. But if you choose it, you will be troubled, you will be challenged. Then again, the joy of living is going to be so much more. It's going to offset it. It may be even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for me to this day, and this is probably my journalist mind fights with my spiritual mind sometimes, right? Because I like to prove and I like to figure out, and, you know, Reiki just is its own thing. It's you become the channel for the energy, and so the only way I've been able to make sense of it myself is to realize in science everything is energy. Everything on this planet is energy. The chair that we sit in, the table that we sit at, the computer that we use, all of it is energy. So I just need to broaden my mind just a little bit more to realize that perhaps there is energy that is here already and within me that I haven't tapped into yet, or that is circulating that we have access to if we just open our minds just a little bit. What would you say to people who might say, uh, I don't know about that Reiki stuff, or I don't know about that energy healing stuff? Because it gets important to realize that not everybody is open right at first. So what would be your guidance to someone that's just hearing these buzzwords and hearing it, but not really sure?
A lot of Reiki healers are operating out of love. And I feel like if I have someone in front of me who are not sure or skeptic about Reiki healing or energy healing itself, I would say I would just invite them to come experience it. There's not a lot of talking to do, but just experience it. Because you wanted to offer your attention anyway, and sometimes it's more of a presence. Your presence is actually very healing already for that person, and we cannot say that it's not Reiki. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you practice? So I know you worked with your mom. Did you practice Reiki on other people? Like, I know I've had some really interesting experiences when I'm doing Reiki where I see certain things. I didn't believe it at first, but sometimes when I'm doing Reiki, there'll be the flash of the person's past life related to some of the wounds, maybe energetically, that are there.
I feel like the reason why they're showing it to us is because it could help us or them or another person or the consciousness of this planet to actually take a message from that past life. So to help us see it. So that's how I see it.
So we've had an evolution from cyber to yoga to Reiki and connecting to the earth, and then sound comes in. I know it's not all separate, it's all happening sort of as an integration, but just for people who might not know what sound healing is, maybe take it to like a basic. First of all, what is sound healing? And then second of all, how did you come to find that? I know they suggested you do it, but if you could just sort of walk us through how that transpired, what sound healing is and what it can offer.
Absolutely. So sound healing is somewhat energy healing as well, and it's also yoga because there's movement of the sound, and it's based on the principles that we are vibrational beings. So there's energy, there's vibration. Your cell actually emits light energy, sound energy, and electromagnetic energy. They're different names, but for me, for my simple mind, it's actually just one. Everything is one. It's like when you talk about tapestry of connection. So it's just one. Everything is. So sound is like that. We may use our voice to help hold a healing space for those people who are participating. We may use an instrument, an external instrument. We may use mantras. It's like a conglomeration of instruments, sounds that we cannot hear, and sounds that we are able to hear.
Yeah, I remember the first time my friend, that the first person that introduced me to Reiki also introduced me to sound healing. And I remember thinking, honestly, Nellie, I'm just going to tell you, I remember thinking, like, why is she bringing out these giant bowls? And why is she putting them on my body? And that feels really weird, like when she was doing it. And then it was the strangest thing. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but you could feel this resonance in your body when the energy is breaking apart or balancing. And so I was very skeptical, I'm going to be honest, when I first, experienced it. This was some years ago. But now I understand, and it really is kind of incredible. Do you use the bowls and what I know this sounds very basic and I'm so sorry, but because I'm not a soundologist, I'm just going to go to like the kindergarten version, if you don't mind. So what type of, so do you use the bowls? Do you use the gongs? Do you use all of the above? And is it on the person's body? Is it in a room, or all of the above?
Yes, all of the above. Yes, yes. So there are certain, according to really good sound healers, they say that I think it's also in the theory of music as well, that the sound of the string is actually it's almost like a massage to the heart, like encouraging compassion, or the keys on the piano is actually encouraging calm and tranquility. And then the sound of the drum is actually the beating of the heart. So that's why we resonate with it. So I use all of those instruments. However, I try to be simple sometimes because I can even use my voice anyway. Even the talking voice is very healing. So yes, all of the above. And yes.
And your voice is very healing. I can attest to sitting next to you during different trainings, because I tend to vibrate, and I was thinking about this before session here, I was like, I tend to vibrate like this inside. And anytime I would come and sit next to you, it would just be like a warm hug. Your voice would be like a warm hug, and it would be like, ah, just setting down, settling into self. And so I can attest to the fact that just your voice, just your presence and the sound, definitely very healing. And I feel blessed to have been the recipient of that. So, yeah. So, walk us through a little bit on how you evolved into having the soundology practice and the yoga training school. So you've expanded beyond the healings. Now you're teaching others and you're setting an example for others. So how did that transpire?
I just go with whatever. Like sometimes I would wake up and there's people describe it as whispers, but you don't really actually hear a whisper. But we have words for those, right? We clear cognizance, clear sentience, clairvoyance. I just go with whatever is being given to me. I would spend a lot of time on the beach, sitting, meditating, and in nature. Yes, yeah, or walking outside with barefoot, just listening deeply. I feel like that's what I did a little differently. Maybe others are doing as well, doing it as well. But yeah, so and then I would get ideas. I would get ideas about it. I would do something that I've never think I would ever done. I've written books. I planned on things I've never thought before, like like getting certified to train people to teach yoga, 200-hour yoga. And then I just went with the flow, whatever is going on with the business, with the work that I'm doing, with the practice I'm doing. There are challenges, but then again, I just continued going with the flow. And yes, being with nature, sitting at the beach, meditating helped a lot. Finding my quiet time. That's when it's amazing how you actually bring up gifts that you never thought you had. Like writing a song and then releasing the song.
You bring up something important, and it is a common thread through all the interviews that I do. I had an astrologer on, and he talked about the importance of meditation. Every single person that kind of does this work talks about the importance of meditation. And I think that's something that it's been out in the lexicon for a while. So people are like, yeah, meditation. But in my opinion, yeah, meditation. Meditation is the foundation of all of it. And I sometimes have to tell myself, I forget that as well. We get busy, we go, we do. And I was just realizing myself, I was feeling kind of anxious and different things. In my head, I heard, well, when's the last time you meditated, Gena? It's like you got out of your meditation practice. And it's so subtle at first when you get out of the practice and until it's not. But
Mhm.
I was going to bring up, I really feel like you're calm, that it's like you must meditate on a very consistent and regular basis to be, I mean, you just like we joked at the retreat about sort of that monk kind of energy that you have where it's just so grounding and so still. And so do you meditate regularly, daily? What's your practice like with meditation?
I try my best. Yeah, I try my best to do it. So it's not it's not like I'm the consistent or the I'm living the life of a mom, but I do wake up at 3 in the morning to do meditation. Between 3 to 6. Sometimes if I feel it, I would sit down and meditate. But I think for some people out there, I think it's a good help to actually not reframe, but more of understand what meditation really is. Because I feel like it's people are giving themselves hard time when they hear meditation. Oh, you have to meditate to do this or to become this or to find answers. But you can actually meditate while you're doing a practice that is religious, when you're praying, which is also meditation, when you're cooking, when you're painting, or when you're just tinkering on things at home, or when you're just folding your clothes. So I think we need to be compassionate about ourselves. My point is that there are so many ways, and your body, your whole energetic body, your whole embodiment is actually a unique thing. Your energy. You're actually your own universe in your own self. So you gotta have to find ways to actually find peace and stillness. So maybe I would imagine it as there's a lot of children in the field and there's balloons floating. and then the balloons are supposed to be picked up by the little ones, and then some will pick up, like one person, for example, you, the little Gena, is gonna jump and pick up the pink balloon, or blue balloon, or red, and I'm gonna pick up the purple balloon. And it also depends on how far they are, how high you jump. That's how I look into our practices, because there's so many practices around us, and there are very cheap ones too, like just walking barefoot on the ground outside. There's always dirt outside.
Yeah, and I think that's very key what you bring up, because I do think in today's society, a lot of people beat themselves up for not being enough, for not doing enough, for not doing it the correct way. And so I really appreciate you explaining it like that, because probably some of my best meditation times in my younger years, I didn't realize I was meditating. I ran and on a track team, and when I would be out running, that was my meditation. Now I was physically moving, because that's the other thing. Sometimes with meditation, like, you have to be still, and for people like me, it's very hard to be still. So that was a form of meditation. Listening to music can be a form of meditation. Like you said, walking outside and just putting your feet in the earth, that can be grounding meditation. There are all shapes and sizes, and so I appreciate you sharing that for people, because I think sometimes people find it daunting and they don't even try, because there's this expectation that they need to be over here, when really they can do it their own way. So I appreciate you sharing that. What are some other ways that you can do meditation?
Other ways to do meditation, even with just talking to your sister, or your brother, or your mom, or your dad, is also a kind of meditation. Just being present sometimes, or when you're eating your food, when you're drinking your water. So there's really no one way, or there's no wrong way. I think it's always right. As long as you find that peace and stillness, and the feeling of joy. There's also different ways of intention. Like if you wake up in the morning and think about how grateful you are being alive, with hands and feet, and with the air around you to breathe. Yeah, I think it's just the word meditation. Sometimes, yeah, you're right. It could be daunting for some people.
Mhm. And you and I met on a mediumship retreat. Was that just something you were exploring, or do you do mediumship? I know that's probably not your primary thing, but is that something that you've woven into your practice as well, or more just you were exploring for yourself?
I felt that I was called for it. I was summoned to be there, because it was also a serendipitous moment for me to find our teacher.
Mhm.
I found her through Instagram, and then I signed up for
Mhm.
the tarot reading class. And then from then on, I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sign up for the academy, and
Mhm.
that's actually it's a game changer for me, and it opened me up for so many things. And I also acknowledged and recognized my gift as a psychic and medium, and a reader. So all that I'm doing now, because it's an evolution, it's a combination of all those gifts, or those lessons.
I also feel like at that point in my life, it was really transformational to step into this being of, okay, this is who I am, and here's my tribe of people. And I felt that that retreat was a very sacred container where so many of us met and interacted and shared our energy with one another. And so, what was that experience like for you, tapping into the psychic and to mediumship? Was there anything you learned about yourself during that?
I feel like more and more that I open myself up to learning, the more gifts are coming out. And I do believe that we all have that too, as long as we look for it and we search it within ourselves. So yeah, so a lot of things that I've learned about myself. I would say I've learned grace more, being grateful, and almost like standing at the center of the storm, which we all need to have, the qualities that we need to have. Um,
Mhm.
allowing things to flow around you without being bombarded by anything, thoughts and emotions. Uh, and also the ongoing search, because I didn't stop there. I am now incorporating movement in my sound practice. I found a community that taught me how to do Tai Chi, and I'm also doing Kung Fu and Qigong. So a lot of things, and it's just continuous. It's you never stop learning, you never stop practicing. Yeah.
And I was surprised in one of my last interviews with Lena. She found her way to psychic and meditation, everything through martial arts. And I don't know why, maybe I was just ignorant, but I didn't expect that to be the vehicle that brought her to the psychic world and the mediumship world. But then you think about it, it makes sense because of the concentration and the movement, and you're getting your brain out of the way, and then the intuition can flow. Is that what you feel like your students experience when you're teaching them with movement and sound, is that it gets the monkey mind out of the way, the linear mind out of the way?
Yeah, the same with art and music, and everything that we do and actually I wouldn't actually exclude even desk job, the work in front of the computers or other things, because we are all just slumbering beings. That's what I think of us. And we are to wake up. Yeah, we are ought to wake up. We are ought to remember.
And do you find, because this is something that's talked about in the spiritual community a lot, do you find that more people are waking up now in the collective? And if so, do you think there's a reason for that? I mean, what's your thoughts, your intuition about that aspect of it?
Yes, some spiritual communities would talk about bifurcation, which is like a division that some people are going to the new earth and some are staying in the old earth. But I feel like you're right. There's more and more people are awakening or becoming aware that there must be a big change within them so that they can exude a change outside of them. I also think that it's been happening for a while. It may started in the 1800s. So we're in that age that we are actually remembering. So I feel like it's not happened before, but it really did happen before. So now is the age that we're all coming back again and saying, okay, let's help each other out. So yes, more and more people are waking up, and more people are actually influencing others to wake up. Perhaps the academy that we signed up for is a catalyst. Perhaps the yoga training that I did, or whatever that is for you.
There's a lot of heaviness in the air with global events and things that are happening worldwide, and advancement of technology and the quicker pace of our society. It does feel like that there's a lot more heaviness that people are working within. And so, what would you say from your viewpoint and your experience of how to handle that, how to walk through that with grace, like you said, and gratefulness? So, what would be your advice or your message for people that are struggling with that?
I would say the healing begins within ourselves. The change begins within ourselves. We all have discernment, and we can use our discernment to know whether or not we will spend our energy or spend our time or give our presence to that particular energy field. There's again, even though there's a lot of chaos in the world, there's also a lot of beauty. And we can see that outside, just outside the house, there's a little park. We can walk there. We can find our own peace. We can actually create our own reality. It's not that we are locked in the cage anymore. We are not caged anymore. We are free, and we are free to choose. Um, I think the problem is that we entertain it a lot. We entertain the problems a lot. I feel like we can look for solutions, right? Yeah. So steadiness is it's difficult, but also it is possible. I feel like sometimes we think that what we're doing is a relaxation, but then truly it's not. Or we think that we are sleeping, but truly we are not sleeping well at night. Or we're doing things to nourish ourselves. Perhaps we think that we're eating, but then what's the quality of the food that we put inside our mouths? So we need to use our discernment. We need to ask, and we need to search, because we know how it feels. We know how it feels to be peaceful and joyful.
One of the things that I come back to over and over is an attitude of gratefulness. I once heard that gratitude was one of the least appreciated but yet most necessary emotions to carry. And I find sometimes that to be true because it's very easy to look around and see the hardship of things but not be grateful for things. And in my own experience, I can remember at a medical issue, I had to have my kidney removed. And I remember how grateful I was when I got out of the hospital just to be able to have basic functioning and to be like breathing air and to be a part of and connected. And that gratefulness, I wish I could have harnessed that gratefulness and just carried it to that level all the way through, because that was probably one of the times I was the most grateful in all my life because it truly was a game changer for me. And so sometimes I have to remember, and I'm just saying this, you can be grateful for the tiniest of things. And the more you add gratitude into your life, the more I feel like the perception changes and the more the energy around you changes. And do you find that to be the case, that gratefulness can shift sort of your paradigm and how you view the world?
I love talking about gratitude. And science actually prove it that if we intend to be grateful for small things in our life, a lot of parts of our brain is actually lit up. Creativity, things that, that things that helps us to solve problems or whatever that is. And on that opposite side, if you have resentment, if you hold on fear and resentment, there's like, I guess just one that region that is lit up. So yeah, science proved it, and our feelings also prove it. If you're grateful for even the bad things that happen to your life, if you're grateful for it because it's teaching you a lesson, it could actually elevate your understanding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as a practice of right before you fall asleep. I know sometimes this is what I'll do. Grateful for the day. I'm grateful. You just start naming off just 2 or 3 things. That could be a start. I notice that when I do it, I always wind up falling asleep partially through the weight of my list. So that's also a good way to help yourself fall asleep.
Even just drinking your water, if you're grateful for the water that you're gonna be drinking, it's so like, yeah, it's also proven by science.
And by the opposite, I once heard this phrase and I held on to it because it's good to remember. If you have a resentment towards someone, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right? Because it's only hurting you. It's taking your energy. It's taking your time. It's taking your,
Yes.
rent free in your head, the space. And so I think even if you feel like it's warranted, it only hurts you. So that's something that I just say for people listening.
It's beautiful.
I don't know if you teach people how to work through things like resentfulness, or if you help people to go within and see the parts that need to be healed. Is that something that you do within your practice of the teaching, or do you find that comes naturally?
It comes naturally. I feel like as someone who calls himself a healer, your role is actually just to be there for the other person, to show some presence, maybe enough presence and curiosity and compassion, so that they can actually remember or recognize within themselves that they have the capacities to heal myself. We all really just there for each other, to remind each other of our gifts.
Mhm. And so if you could tell people listening, not sum up your philosophy, what is your message? What do you want people to know about Nell-E and about what you've learned and the sum of your parts? What would you like people to know?
So for the audience of Tapestry of Connection, I think we have like labels such as clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, right? And I would say you all have those, and even science actually have the conclusion that we have more than five senses. And for me, I truly believe that we have like more than 360 senses. Um, so each one of us is really unique. And you have like what, 37 trillion cells in your body, and each one is occupying a space and time. I guess different locations or different coordinates. Imagine your body is a living organism it's like an ecosystem. So you have so much gifts. And I would say not to limit yourself. Like if you say I'm a clairvoyant, I didn't really become a clairaudient or something like that. No, don't limit yourself because you are a limitless being. And sometimes you will feel like, oh, I haven't developed that, but maybe you did. Maybe when you are a child, because you have that childlike wonder until now. This is what I always talk about in my teachings. I always remember that childlike wonder because that actually would help us to heal others as well, heal ourselves and heal others.
Well, that was beautiful, actually. I was just sitting here kind of taking it in, taking all of it in. And what would you say is your personal philosophy going through life? Do you have a personal philosophy that embodies your decisions and your choices that you carry about your day?
I talk about trusting and letting go. Just keep on trusting. There's a lot of provisions for you. The universe will always be there. You may call it God or angels or fairies or dragons. There's help, and you're always being loved, and you have been forever loved. So that's what I say to myself too, that you are loved. And yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to remember. I also think that we should start saying to each other, "I love you." So Gina, I love you,
I
and
love
the
you
audience,
too,
probably.
Nell-E. You're so amazing, Nell-E. I love being in your energy container because it's like I said, it always, even though we're not in person together, I, I feel like I've gotten this warm hug of love and kindness. And so I really would encourage people, if this is resonating with you, Nell-E is a wonderful, wonderful human being and has so much love to share and so much wisdom also to give through all the experience that he has. So Nell-E, you're also a writer. Then you've written books. What has been that journey like? Has it been concurrent with everything else, or were you inspired or channeled?
It's channeled. It's channeled and inspired. It's a download. A few years back, I was manifesting that I will write a book actually, and I actually drawn myself doing a book site, and then it all happened. So it's I was a journalist in high school, so it's because I love the English subject, and I was involved in writing, but I stopped doing that for a long time. Life arrived, and I stopped doing it. So last year I started getting these downloads, and I started building stories in my head, and so I released my first book.
And what's the name of your book?
The book is called Emberland. It's a fiction for middle graders, and then the next one that I originally started writing, Dreams of a Dreamweaver. It's about dreams, about my own interpretation of my dreams, my own analysis, and then other wisdom that I've learned from other traditions that I can combine within that book. So I released that after Emberland.
Wow.
And the final one that I released was on May 10. Released it on Mother's Day. It's actually a book about grief, and I call it The Grace of the Heart, Healing with Grief.
That's something that I think a lot of people need help with, and probably something that we don't talk about enough. Is grief is an individual journey, and it can sometimes feel quite alone. So that's beautiful that you've written that.
Thank you.
Nell-E, you are just quite a unique and amazing and beautiful human being, I must say. Cybersecurity, you have yoga, you have sound healing, you have Reiki. You were a journalist in high school, you're a writer, you're a channeled author, and most importantly, you're kind and loving and giving and such a wonderful human being. And I'm so honored that our paths have crossed and that I was blessed with the opportunity to spend time with you, to get to know you. And I'm just so thankful that you agreed to be on my show. I want you to just remind everybody once again how to find you, because you're going to want to check out Nell-E. He's amazing. So Nell-E, if people did want to get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to find you?
I'm available in social media, Instagram, even TikTok. And my website is kindfulbeing.com. And my books are also available in Amazon. Thank you, Jean. I must say
Thank you.
this. When I met you in the retreat, I'm so moved by your humility. Your quiet light is actually very, very, very powerful. So give yourself that credit.
Thank you. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you, Nell-E. And thank you so much for being here. I feel so blessed.
It's an honor.